Hey there, happy Monday, and welcome to the middle of April. We are the Wise Guys, the largest BYU sports live stream show in the whole world, presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. This week's podcast will be out tomorrow, wherever you get your podcast. Brian is in for Blaine tonight. Blaine's on the ship, cruising with the Cougs, and we're here to hold things down. And we're going to have a great show tonight. Our live stream is already hopping this evening. We encourage you to jump on there and let us know where you're watching the show from, and we'll try to give you a shout out as we span the globe. And we remind you to subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com. You can also watch all of our past content. All the interviews are sitting right there, and we'd love it if you hit the free subscribe button on our YouTube channel, and that'll help us grow the show. Bilo, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I thought you would be there on the cruise too.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
You guys are like a package deal. I've never seen this happen before. I was shocked when you guys had asked me, and I was like, "Well, Dave's not going."
No, Dave is doing 4 baseball games this week.
Oh, so you had to.
So we're in the middle of a couple of seasons.
That's unfortunate.
And but I got to be here with you.
Yeah, that's true.
And then I got baseball tomorrow and Thursday and Friday and Saturday and not all the spring sports get time off.
Yeah.
Ask all the coaches that are still busy. But we had Spencer and Jerem live on the ship on Sports Nation this morning. They'll be back on tomorrow, and it looks like they're having a great time. Hopefully the grand idea of it being a really unique way to raise money is working. But it looks like everything else is going on.
Is that what it's for?
Well, it's part of it, yeah. Get everyone together.
I guess everything always comes down to money, right?
Doesn't it? It seems to. And speaking of which, our title sponsor is Brady Plus, and we're so happy to be tied in with Brady Plus. They provide cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs. They've got over 150 distribution facilities across the country. That's how big they are, 6,000 employees. We're grateful for the president of Brady Plus, Travis Brady, who's a BYU alum, and Brady Plus, big part of the Wise Guys. And we're distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. Watch for our content on their social media sites as we serve Cougar Nation all over the world. And so the show is Monday night, and then it lives forever on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch once the live stream's done. And then it's in the newspaper, and on and on and on it goes. What's the coolest thing that's happened to you this week?
I would probably say the news about BYU basketball.
There's a lot of it.
I mean, it just keeps on going. And as I was driving over here to get ready for the show, I was like pinching myself. I never thought that BYU athletics would be in this type of position where the notoriety and all these big time names, right? Like when I was playing 2009, 2010, we were struggling. We were happy to get a 3-star, right? We were struggling to get, these big name guys. And I guess I told myself this, I just have to get used to this. It was a great feeling for one, just in general, right? To bring on more talent, but two, to see all of the negative, hateful comments. I thrive off that.
You like that stuff?
I love it. As a competitor and an athlete, I love it.
We seem to be getting a lot of that. Yeah. That's for sure. On the stream, Cary, Idaho in the house, Vernal, Utah, Harriman, Utah, Huntsville, Alabama, Beaumont, Texas, Nampa, Idaho. There's Seattle. The BYU Cruise sounds like so fun. Talking about Spencer and Jerem looked relaxed on the show today. Yeah, we'll see how relaxed. We'll see how sunburned they are later in the week. But Chris, thanks for being on the stream as we span the globe. Let's talk about what we've got coming on the show tonight. Bilo, you mentioned BYU basketball. The Cougars land a point guard, and what that final AP ranking means for next season. We'll tackle that tonight.
Yes, we will. Again, man, I'm really excited about what's going on with basketball and athletics. And then on the women's side as well, women's basketball also gets a significant addition to its guard line.
Yeah, that one's big. We'll project our starters for BYU football. Linebacker coach Justin Ena is going to be in studio with us in just a few minutes. We'll talk about the linebackers, the core of that defense. And, he's been in charge of helping guys put on weight in the offseason by running that morning breakfast buffet. We'll see how that's going, if that's even still going on.
These guys are so spoiled now. Oh, my gosh. Breakfast buffet, that's crazy. And then plus we'll have 4 members of BYU's Landscape National Champions. They'll be here in studio. And
did you know that was a thing?
I didn't know that was a sport.
Well, it's not. I don't know if it's a sport, but they're national champs, and that sounds like a sport.
That's why we got to call it a sport. If it's so
we're like, well, you belong on the Wise Guys. So they went back and competed and won their 10th national championship.
It's crazy.
They're 6th, I think, or 7th in 8 years or something like that. And so 4 of the students are going to be here, and we're going to find out how you win a Landscape National Championship and how it helps you get a job
which is
in an industry that's huge. So that's coming up tonight. We think you'll enjoy it. It's going to be an awesome show. Next week, by the way, McKay Madsen and Brock Harris, both 4-star recruits, will be on Wise Guys. So we'll look forward to visiting with them as Nebraska checks in. There's St. George, Utah. How about Tokyo in the house? Basketball Natty coming. Incoming. Rick, we hope you're right. Great to have you from Tokyo. Covina, California is here with us as we roll into this brand new week. Let's talk about the big news of the day. It was the big news of the last week, but it became official today. Rob Wright III, he's transferring from Baylor. He's 6'1" point guard, average 11.5 points a game, 4.2 assists. Belo's going to go down his stats, but here's what's significant about him is he is the best player they could get in the portal to enhance what they have coming in.
Yeah.
With Yegor Demon leaving, they needed a point guard, so they went and got one that has experience, that's a little lower to the earth, can get to the rim.
I like that.
And he is a potential game changer. Might even be the difference between the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8, even Final Four.
Yeah,
that's how big this one is. And he's got numbers to back it up.
Yeah, so he had averaged 20, well, like you said, 11 and a half points, 4.2 assists per game. Had 22 points, 6 assists, in that 93-89 overtime loss when they were here in Provo last January. 21 starts, played in 35 games, former 5-star guard per 24/7 Sports. All freshman Big 12 with Yegor Demon.
Yeah, he was a teammate.
To give you, exactly. To give you some comparison. Touted by many as the top point guard in the portal, and I would probably even say up there just overall as far as available players in the portal.
Yeah.
Gary Parrish of CBS Sports has BYU number 5th in his preseason top 25.
Weston is on the streams. How about the Cougs being selected in the top 5 and the way
crazy.
too early? That's never happened.
2, 3, 4, 5.
5. And
that means there's only 4 teams in front of us.
Yeah. And think about it this way. They're going to add 4 more guys.
Yeah.
And they're going to have 4 more guys to enhance this team. It can only go up from here. If you're 5 and you add 2 more really good guys, I think you become 4.
Yeah.
Then you go 3.
I think something that really, as I was looking into Rob and just his season, and again, you hear all this negativity from other fans, and especially like Baylor fans. I'd be a little bit sour as well. But one praise that I've heard throughout podcasts and analysts is that with how quote unquote broken that roster was, or not being able to, like put all the pieces. You had all the pieces, but you couldn't really put them together, and that's where you had a lot of Baylor struggles. But whenever Rob was on the court, the team was good, right? They had success, which I think tells you he's the type of player that can play with anybody, and something that you always worry about when it comes to portal guys, especially these last couple of years, is that chemistry, right? And how are you going to gel together? How are you going to mesh? We saw a little bit earlier this year with Coach Young still trying to figure out the pieces, and finally got it clicking. And the rest is history. So I think he'll come in and it'll be a very easy and smooth transition.
It's going to be exciting. Lori on the stream, I seriously can't get enough about BYU sports. Lori, that's why we're here. That's why the wise guys exist. San Antonio is checking in tonight on the stream. National basketball writer John Rothstein has moved BYU into his top 10 for next season. And again, they're going to add some more guys, and they're just going to get better.
Yeah.
Kevin Young today on Rob, he says, quote, Rob's one of the most dynamic guards in the country. With his combination of speed and quickness, he is the ultimate floor general and makes everyone around him better. Is that not the description you want?
Yep.
About
Absolutely.
the guy who's going to have the ball in his hands? Well, Dybantsa's over here and Richie's over here and Caba's down there and then a couple of the other guys that are coming.
And I mean, he can score, right? I mean, there are some rough times this year with BYU and Jaeger at the point where, shots weren't able to fall and not being able to create your own shot, right, at that position. And he automatically is somebody that adds that to the roster. And so now you have a plethora of guys that can score. Think about, the 22 points in Provo. Think about 20 points with him. You think about Richie Saunders, who can get 20, right? We can assume that AJ can get 20, right? Being the number one player in the entire universe. So now you're getting to a point on the roster where multiple guys can score one, but not only just score, but have these breakout games and really dominate. So if one guy's having a bad night, you got 2-3 other guys that you can rely on.
Think about as many points as BYU scored this year, one of the higher scoring teams in the country. And you look at our guy right here, Wright, averaging 11.5 points a game. That would put him number 2 on the team, on BYU's team, scoring.
Right.
Because there was Richie up there around 16, and then everyone else. Jaeger was 11, between 10 and 11, but not 11 and a half. And then everyone else after him, they all made contributions. Yeah. But this kid would have been the second leading scorer on this team this year.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about that.
Right. So they got there's a reason they're high-fiving each other over in the basketball office, and I can tell you they are. AJ Dybantsa, the Nike Hoop Summit over the weekend. Any of you see that? He had a cool 24, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Team USA beat Team World 124-114. The next time to watch him play is in the Jordan Brand Classic. That's coming up April 18th at 4 Mountain Time on the NBA's YouTube channel. And then he'll be here enrolling in school on the 29th of this month.
That's crazy. It's crazy to think of.
The more highlights I see of him, the more I am convinced that we are going to a place we've never been before. It's either going to be awesome or really good. As Singapore checks in on the stream, good to have you with us early tomorrow morning. But man, when you watch video of him, he did his dunk on SportsCenter the other night. You're like, it's going to say Cougs across his chest.
I know where we're going. We're going to a land flowing with milk and honey. That's where we're going.
Yeah. It's going to be something, a Final Four of milk and honey. Jaeger declared for the draft since we were last together. He's already moved to Los Angeles. He's getting ready for workouts there and then on to the NBA Combine. The draft's coming up at the end of June. Richie Saunders, no word yet on Richie, but we expect him to be back.
Yeah.
And, no one's speaking for him. There's a chance he could go to get into the draft, go to all the camps. And then I think it's June 15th at 3 p.m, he can withdraw and come back to school. If you can do that, if you can go, you should.
Yeah, I would.
And the fans don't like it, and it leaves a big hole in, well, what if he goes and he's awesome, like he was in the NCAA tournament, and then goes into the draft. Now, all of a sudden, at the end of June, you got to fill his shoes. So that's kind of what's going on with Richie. But everybody that I've talked to in the program expects him to be back.
Yeah. I can't see him leaving.
I think he wants to win a national championship.
Yeah, well, with basketball, it's different in football. If you're projected to go second round, I'm out. See it. Thank you for everything that you've done for me in my life, and I'll catch you on the other side. But with basketball,
it's a pretty quick exit. Invested 4 years and that's it. You're out.
I'm not even thinking twice. But with basketball, if you're not a lottery pick and you have eligibility, it's a well, I was going to say it's a big separation of money, but I think about LeBron's son. But anyway, that's an outlier. Usually, if you're not a lottery pick and you have eligibility, you want to come back and increase your draft stock. Plus, he has so much brand behind him now with the tater tots, right?
Yes, he does. Right? NIL changes things. Yeah, you can be doing just fine now as a college athlete.
Think about the opportunity for the offseason now. His brand is established as the tater tot kid, right? The basketball player that owns tater tots. There's so many opportunities that he'll be able to get with NIL, for this offseason. And plus, the way that BYU is still sticking in the headlines on a national scale, his relevancy would help out. So now that we have NIL, you don't need to go to the NFL early or the NBA early. Yeah, you could take maybe
write it out.
You could have a quarter of that amount of money by staying here and then improving your draft stock and making more money.
5 minutes away from Justin Ena, linebackers coach, just walked in, ready to go. It's great to have him with us. Cannon Catchings is transferring to Georgia. He announced that. Townsend Triple, walk-on the basketball team, entered the portal today. This is the beginning of the end of walk-ons with the scholarship roster restrictions. And we'll talk to Justin about it with football. But there's some trimming, and the walk-ons that used to be able to have as many as you want. Not anymore. Those roster because you got to pay the players, right? And so the roster restrictions, we will see it across all sports. Football will feel it too, but there are some other sports that'll feel it a little bit more. So Triple is out. The final AP poll, by the way, BYU basketball at 13 and football was number 13.
Yep.
What are the chances of that? Both finished number 13. Both totally overachieved from preseason predictions, and they both land at 13. It's the highest season-ending ranking for basketball since 2011, 14 years. Lots happened in 14 years.
Jimmer, right?
That was Jimmer, yeah. Only 2 teams finished in the top 15 in football and basketball this year, BYU and Tennessee.
And Tennessee doesn't have a quarterback anymore.
No, they got some, but yeah, not the one they thought. Cougars have never started a season with both football and basketball in the top 25, which will happen later this year.
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah, even the year they finished number 1, they didn't start in the top 25 for football.
Okay.
It just doesn't happen very often around here, but it kind of feels like it's going to happen frequently as we move forward.
When you get top tier basketball resources, then ultimately things will
still got to make the kick.
Things will change.
Next season, national basketball reporter John Rothstein reporting BYU and Clemson are going to be among 4 teams to compete in the 2025 Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden in December.
That's cool.
That's the big time, right? We're still waiting on the other 2 teams in the field. But this December, BYU is going to be playing in the Garden in New York City.
And you know why that's the case, right? When you got the number 1 player in the nation that signs with you, you want all eyes on you, right? On this kid, right? He's supposed to be the next quote unquote, LeBron James, the next generational talent. ESPN and all these other networks, they're gonna take that into consideration. And when it comes to what teams do we want to invite, how can we maximize the most eyeballs? Because usually a tournament like this and like BYU isn't really invited into those.
Nope.
Right? You're getting more blue bloods. Right?
Yeah.
So
BYU's blue blood now.
We got blue blood players. We got blue blood money.
Sylvia is on the stream from Wisconsin tonight. Hey, Sylvia. And Weston, they didn't track and field, cross country, just get a top level transfer. They did from Stanford. And then before that, the men's and women's teams signed the number 1 runners in the country. So that's how that's going. Which is awesome. Pensacola in the stream as well here tonight. Tim Fanning, BYU assistant coach, named the head coach of the Netherlands men's under 18 team for this summer's FIBA Eurobasket Championships in Romania. So he'll be over there doing that, which is which is awesome. Women's head basketball coach Lee Cummard picked up a big addition with Olivia Hamlin. She decommitted from Nebraska and is going to come play for BYU. She averaged 28.4 points a game last season for Snow Canyon High School down in St. George, Utah. 5'9", also the reigning two-time Deseret News 4A State Player of the Year, ready to play alongside the Big 12 Freshman of the Year in Delaney Gibb next season. So that's a big get for Lee Cummard and his new group as they try to re-energize women's hoops.
Yeah, I think that shows you the relationship he had with them, right? It's I'm not trying to say nothing in a negative way, but with the whole entire situation of how that happened, I think that's pretty telling, right? That I'm going to leave, but I'm going to come back based off of who the selection was, and there was already a guy that was on the staff. So I'm just gonna say, maybe BYU, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation if we would have made this, decision to have Lee as the head coach a couple of years ago.
Maybe, you never know, but he's gonna get his chance.
Yep.
And that chance is here now. And so we wish him the best of luck. He'll be on the show here coming up. Panama's in the house, Tokyo, and Singapore. So those are where we are from outside the state so far tonight here on the Wise Guys. Thank you so much for being with us. Football news, head coach Kalani Sitake is going to headline devotional this Sunday night in St. George. He'll be speaking at 7 o'clock. 3167 East and 1140 South. Imagine Brock Harris will be there, BYU's 4-star tight end commit from Pineview High School. Brock will be on the Wise Guys next week, so we can see his head coach in St. George this weekend. And Kalani recently gave a devotional speech at the Marriott Center, which is fantastic.
Is that a fireside?
He's taking it on the road. Yeah, be a fireside.
The church doesn't call it firesides anymore?
Yeah, we call them firesides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's not really no fire, but it's a fireside.
I thought it was
at the steak center. We're not eating steaks.
I thought it was fire, baptism of fire.
There's that involved too, but not at a fireside.
This whole time, I thought that was the meaning behind it.
Philo, I'm going to send 2 guys over to your house. They're going to answer all those questions for you.
Jerem and Spencer, they've already did that.
Our first guest tonight is the linebackers coach at BYU. He played linebacker for the Cougars, led the team in tackles in 2000 and 2001, went on to play 4 seasons in the NFL, 3 with the Eagles and 1 with Tennessee. Our pleasure to welcome back to the Wise Guys, the great Justin Ena. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thanks for coming in. How's summer going?
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah?
The weather's gorgeous right now, so I'll take that. Just kicking into spring recruiting right now, so...
Well, you were a stud linebacker, 266 tackles, 23 for loss, 2 interceptions. You forced 6 fumbles. So how would Justin Ena back then stack up against who you're coaching today?
I'd probably be playing O-line. The speed of the game is so much faster, and we have a bunch of cheetahs out there, and they do a really good job.
Does that blow your mind a little bit? Because you were really good, and now this group that you're coaching is different.
Yeah, we were built to stop power and ISO, and everybody was 21 or 12 personnel. And now coaching and seeing the game evolve into spread, you have to make sure that you play in space. And if you don't play in space, you can't play linebacker anymore.
See, I was going to ask you that because the difference of the times, I feel like guys or the game isn't as physical anymore. And so you see like the trade-off of physicality back then, but then now it's a little bit more finesse, but guys are a little bit more athletic.
No, you see that for sure. I always tell my guys that we were big Chevys and Fords, like running around, and now they're all sports cars. They really are. I mean, Ferraris, and these kids are a little bit different these days too, to where if they don't feel like they're at the top peak of their performance, sometimes they're like, hey, maybe I should just hold myself out. And like, I've never played 85% healthy.
Ever.
And so you have to be able to kind of get the toughness out of the kids and make sure that you have a tough room that holds each other accountable. And when you do that, the sky's the limit.
How do you do that? We did that when I played. We did it by drills.
Yeah.
Like live tackling drills.
And I believe in that. And that's one thing that I think my players sometimes are like, man, take it easy a little bit. But the kids have to understand that this game is still a very violent game, and it needs to be played that way. Yeah. And that's how you set yourself apart. And so these kids, the players that we have right now, they understand what the expectation is going into year 3 right now. It's making sure that we don't hold anything out there anymore. I mean, we're 1 or 2 plays away from playing in the playoffs, and so we have to make sure that we hold each other accountable, that the standard's set, and that we have to keep on just getting better every single day.
Now, back in the day, you went up against big offensive linemen, but these are tanks. If your linebackers are sports cars, I was at practice the other day, and they came walking off, and they're all 6'6", 6'5", huge.
Yeah. But that's part of the game right now. So our advantage right now is speed, and so speed and power. If we can get our guys aligned exactly where they need to be aligned, and if they can execute and get their eyes key what they're supposed to be keying, there's no chance that these big guys can touch us. But you have to be exact with your alignment. So we always talk about alignment, assignment, adjustment, right? And you're always moving and talking to these kids all the time, understanding every defense has a strength and a weakness, and so you better know as a backer in there, right, if this quarterback's looking at and seeing it, okay, what's he going to check? And if he's not checking it, so we can play ball from where we are in our formation and we're all set. But we have to be exact with our alignment and assignment. Yeah. Once we do that and we're keying our keys, we'll play ball.
You know, there's one thing that will always be size, speed.
Yeah,
that's how you think. That's how I got away with, you know, being 5'6" as a corner. But I was like,
was it the speed?
I went to junior college my first 2 years in the Bay Area, and I was like the 8th fastest person on the team. I came to BYU, I was the fastest person, like by far. Like I was shocked, and I think because I was so much quicker and faster than everybody, you know, I was able to get away with being a little bit shorter, but you still have to have that balance of strength and power. And I know right now, I've heard that you are in charge of putting, you know, weight on guys, you know, when it comes to.
You're still running that?
You know what? Our guys are hitting their numbers right now. I don't want to be too big either, right? So these kids have put on 30, 40 pounds, and they're right where they need to be. I mean, you talk about Glasker. When we first got here, he's like 197, and now he's 237 to 241. Wow. We want him there about 241, 242 when he comes to fall camp.
So if they're falling behind, then they have the 7 a.m. breakfast with Coach Ena.
it's core powers. They're all over the place. You got 42 grams of protein everywhere.
But if they're hitting their number, then they can skip that and just see at lunch.
And that's in every single day. They're always changing their weight in our linebacker room, because we want to know where hopefully they want to know where they are, right? And so it's every single day making sure that you're better every single day. Right. And when you fall behind, all right, then
gotta come eat. That's a punishment.
Come eat some pancakes.
Yep.
Top-rated defense in the Big 12 last season. Linebackers, as you mentioned, Isaiah, Harrison Taggart, Jack Kelly, finished among the top 5 tacklers on the team. They're all back this fall. How do you feel about this core group?
They're great kids. I think they're great human beings, first of all, and they want to be the best at what they do. And so it's easy for me to coach these guys because they have the standards. It's set already, and now it's making sure that you break through. And it's okay to be uncomfortable. And we want our guys to feel uncomfortable, because you grow the most when you're uncomfortable. And so having a little discomfort and knowing that, hey, it's going to be okay, and just keep on just grinding every single day to be the very best you can be, you're only going to elevate the whole team.
You know, we have this debate all the time, and we always try to think back. And these guys, Maury, I just got to the program in 2009, but
you know that was a long time ago. Just let you know that it's 2025 now.
You're right. I keep forgetting I'm old. But we had this debate all the time of trying to figure out when was the last time we had a linebacker core like this, where every single person was solid, right? Like not only solid but contributed, and where like they can go and make, anybody at any given time can make a play. Right? Have you ever had a core group like this before?
No, and we just talked about the 3. I can almost go 5 more and feel more than comfortable with all the guys. and it's pretty crazy. You have Jay Brian Struthers, who's a really good athlete, and he'll be a senior this next year, and then Asiale Isera is just. He's a freak of nature. He's big, fast, and strong, moves around. Trying to get him to be a little bit more physical because he is 245 pounds. Right. And he does it. It's fun to watch because he is kind of that throwback. Was never that athletic as him for sure, but he can bring the hammer when he does. And then I think Ace Kafusi, Micah Kafusi, both those guys have made huge strides. I think Ace probably had the best spring of all the linebackers this last year. Oh, he's awesome. Nice. He's done a really good job. And again, he's one of those kids where you think it's almost too good to be true because he's a great human being. And you're like, man, if I say something out of line sometimes, I'm like, I feel like there's a general authority across the way. He's a 21-year-old kid. It's a cool deal though because there's some good boys, and then Miles Hall. I mean, it's fun to work with this group of guys.
Now that spring drills are over, and they have some time off a little bit in April, but then they're back, I think, right in May. What do you have the linebackers working on when you can't be right there on top of them?
I think the number one thing we do too that makes us a little bit different is our linebacker analyst Chad Kawaha. Yeah, he's been a D-line coach at USC, UCLA, Wisconsin, all over the place, Oregon State. And I was lucky enough to get him in my room a year and a half ago. And so he came in with us, and I wanted to learn a lot more pass rush moves because that's not my forte. But learning from him, from one of the very best D-line guys that I've ever been around, it's been awesome to see the production that's moving forward when we do rush the passer. And I'd say we probably rush the passer as a backer group 25% of the time, maybe 30% of the time. And I think the production has been off the charts.
Yeah, you guys get home for as little as you guys rush, right?
Yeah. And it's all the credit goes to Coach Chad. He does an amazing job.
So how do they do that? How do they do that when the team's not practicing like full on against each other, and you're just out doing your individual stuff or your unit stuff, and you want to improve on rushing the passer?
There's a ton of. You've got sleds, right? Yeah. You've got bags, you got everything for it. And the other thing that's nice about rushing the passer, you want to slow everything down if you can, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're taking steps, you're walking into it, and you're gathering yourself. I hate going full speed when you're doing this because it's all teach tempo, and it should be teach tempo. So I think we're in a really good spot to just really, really teach the fundamentals. And a lot of it's player run practices, right? You got your PRPs over there, and you got all the older guys teaching and coaching the younger guys, because we got a bunch of younger guys that came in January, and they're just fish right now, just trying to swim, and they'll figure it out. But we have a group of core guys that are just so advanced right now. It's a good deal.
Are PRPs, are those still mandatory?
No, I don't think they are.
I'm sorry. Are those still optional?
I think they're optional.
You see how I jumped the gun and said are they still? Yeah. Hey, this is optional, but you don't have to go. But
I know we're bringing them back in May, and I think they have to be back. So I think it's making sure that they try to better themselves and take the fundamentals and techniques to be great.
I think that's something where I really grew, because I came in April instead of January, so I missed spring ball. But when I came, and during that time it was the player run practices that were optional. But when I got onto the field and I could see how these guys worked, I already set the culture was set for me in my eyes even though I was a junior, young and inexperienced as far as being at this level. It took me to a whole nother level because I was able to see, our leaders like rah, and I was like, why are you guys yelling at everybody? Ain't no coaches out here. Why are we going 1,000%? We could take a play off, but again, it's set that culture for that very reason.
Yeah, and again, when it's all said and done, it's all about culture. It's cool for our older players to teach it, right? Because you learn better when you're the teacher and you make mistakes, and you're teaching these younger guys, and you're like, maybe I should word this a little bit different. Yeah. And I do it all the time. I always tell my guys, hey, if there's something I can do better, let me know, because we're all just growing and getting better. Yeah. And so when you have these older guys take the reins And even during film session, you have these guys doing it. It's fun to see what they're doing as long as they're communicating correctly.
Yeah, that's cool. Greg from Riverside Country Club's on the stream. He's golfing and listening to the Wise Guys. That's like living the dream right there. Mariko from St. Justin, I'm in your dad's ward in St. George. Great person. There's a comment.
He is a good person, exactly.
He has to be, right?
He is.
BYU Linebackers coach Justin Ena is on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. A bit later, the Landscape National Champions will join us. They just came in with the trophy, and what an accomplishment they've had. We'll talk to them in just a bit. The transfer portal is so impactful now in the college game. We've been watching it every day with basketball, and maybe some of the noise from basketball is allowing you guys to just do your business in football because it's so important there too. How do you monitor the transfer portal while you're currently coaching the guys that you have?
I think the number one thing is hoping that you don't have to use the transfer portal as much as you can. I mean,
but do you still have to watch it?
Everybody does. The other thing you have to watch out, making sure your guys are happy and that they want to stay.
You don't want to see one of your guys in there.
That's the worst thing that happens right there. But you always hear all these rumors going back and forth, and it's kind of a little bit scarier, and especially for the guys that you have in your room. But at the same time, if you believe in the culture and you believe that you're taking care of your players, then there's no reason to really worry about too much about it. Because I mean, we always talk, if it's within a couple $100,000, all right, you're going to have to go to a place. The coach is going to have to believe in you. You're going to have a coordinator that calls the plays for you. There's so many things that come into play to where you're like, I don't know if it's worth it when you have such a good structure, because Kalani puts the culture together, and these kids, I mean, this is a great program to be a part of. Yeah, it really is. As players and coaches, to make sure that you're invested in the right way, knowing that this is a gospel oriented team. And so when you have that put together with great athletes and great coaches, it's a win-win situation.
You almost wonder sometimes, like, because of the values and the principles of the church, where, you know, we're taught like money isn't everything, right? Material is like, it's not the end all. It's not what we're striving for in the goal, which is, I wonder if that makes it a little bit easier to retain kids at BYU.
Oh, I think it totally is. I mean, the one thing Kalani does with this place is he makes this a very player-friendly program. And saying that we don't do a lot of early morning workouts, and that's all planned. And some people are like, oh, you guys are being soft on the kids. Well, when I was a college kid and I had 6 a.m. workouts, I don't know when I went to sleep. I mean, I'd go maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully no players are listening to this. But I mean, and then sometimes if it was too late, then I was like, well, I'm just going to stay up. And so then you're just burning the candle on both ends. And I think a lot of the times, Kalani's like, all right, we know these kids aren't going to be going to bed at 9 p.m.
Sure.
All right, because we want them to get 8 full hours of sleep. And so we have to be smart as coaches, making sure that we take these kids to be that we understand they're sports cars, man. We want to make sure we get the very most out of them when they're performing. And I'm telling you, Kalani does a great job.
The other way is you stay up all night so you can make 6 a.m. workouts. After workouts, then you're going to bed. You're not going to class.
No, for real. Exactly. And I've lived that. I mean, I look at my GPA when I was at BYU, and I'm like, man, Coach Schmidt, I'm sorry. He's up in heaven right now.
What matters is you got through.
I did.
That's right. We all got through.
I got my degree.
Coming from a player who was coached and now a coach who teaches players, how important is basic communication, and how have you learned how to do it?
Oh, it's huge, and it's ongoing. I'm telling you, it's one of those things where these kids understand how I present it, and now it's making sure that I am very, very, what's the word? Straightforward, exactly the way they need to present itself. The cool thing about it, the film never lies, right? So you're like, hey, this is what I want you to do. And when we first got here, a lot of that stuff was from Utah or whatever it is right there, because it was Coach Hill's defense. Sure. And now I get to see we got our own players doing the exact same thing and coaching and teaching it, because you can verbalize it all day long, but it has to be shown on film. And
as we were preparing for this interview, I wanted to ask you that so I could ask you this, because I thought about your communication skills with your wife, Sheri, who is deaf.
Yeah.
And so when you started dating, did you have to rely on your football coaching communication skills to just figure out how to communicate?
I had to mouth things really, really well because she reads lips.
Yeah.
And so it was, when we first started dating, she didn't have cochlear implants. And so everything was mouthed and like I was talking like that. And it was the coolest thing because I'm not a loud person when I'm off the field. And so when we go to restaurants, like it could be as loud as possible. And all I would do is just mouth everything. And she would just pick up on everything. I was like, man, this is awesome. This is a cool deal.
I would think that would push you to the limits just a little bit in developing a relationship, which you have when one can hear and one cannot.
Yeah. You know what? It's cool because she's such a loving person and she's been doing it her whole life, right? And so now I'm trying to learn sign language.
Are you getting pretty good?
I'm still horrible, but I'm trying to figure this out. And I got to take classes. I got to audit classes at BYU, whatever I need to do. But I need to get better at that.
How cool was it? I think you might have been in the locker room, but she signed the national anthem before the Arizona game last year. And I don't know her very well, just a little bit, but nothing holds her back. And when you see her doing that, what does it motivate you to do better?
She's so courageous and she puts herself out there, and that's one thing. She's an extrovert and I'm a very introvert, and so it's cool that she can do that. And she's willing to put herself out there, and that's one of the reasons why I was attracted to her, because I was like, you know what, she's going to put me in places where I need to be a little uncomfortable, right? And I need to be uncomfortable because I need to grow and get better. And so it's been an amazing journey with her because she'll put herself out there, and then and then she pulls me along. So it's such a cool deal. And then when she was signing the national anthem, I was up in the box watching it.
Oh,
and
good.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
And you can watch that, by the way, if you go to YouTube, and you can watch her sign the whole song. It's also on her Facebook page too.
Yeah.
And just great stuff. You guys are great together. We're thrilled to have BYU linebacker coach Justin Ena on the Wise Guys live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. Our 5 questions are presented by strategysquare.co. We've already hit you up on the original 5 questions. And so we're going to get creative and get your opinion on the new rules for the NFL season, whether you like them or not. So we'll run the rule past you, and then you tell us if you like it or not, okay?
Okay.
So these are called New Rules with Justin Ena. If we had some music, we'd be playing it.
Nice. If we had a sponsor, you'd be sponsored by it.
All right, Bilo, you want to go over the first rule? So we'll read the rule, and you tell us if it's a good idea or not.
In overtime, each team will get a chance to score a touchdown, just like in the regular season. This rule has been in the playoffs since 2022, so now teams both have a chance.
So now they're moving it to the regular season this year. You like that?
I like it.
You don't
I don't
like
know
the
why
game
I like it.
on
I just like it. Yeah, I don't like when they have the field goal and then even like the touchdown afterwards. And you're like, man, it's just because then it's all luck, right? It's the coin toss.
Yeah. And if you lose the coin toss and they go score a touchdown, your offense never even saw the field.
Yeah.
So you like that?
You're not leaving the actual game, like the competition, right? Like the skill set up to chance, right? You're leaving. It's up to luck. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good.
But then I'm going to tell you player safeties. It's going to be like, how long of the game is the game going to go touchdown, then the next score afterwards? Is that what it's?
Yeah, I don't know.
I in my opinion, I think
it's only 10 minutes.
I feel like we should.
Time.
I feel like we should. NFL should take the college model. And
I love it.
I do. Like that would help with player safety, right? I mean, limited to a certain. Well, you can't limit it because once you start going for 2, things get.
It's going to be.
You saw the Georgia game, right? Like Georgia and Georgia Tech, right? So.
All right. Conrad's in on the stream from New York City. Conrad, good to have you with us. Here's number 2. Ready? Cameras will replace the chain gang for first down measurements. So they'll have 6 8K cameras that'll track the ball and measure its distance. The chains will still be available on the side as a backup. But do you like them moving to cameras to determine if you got 10 yards on first down?
Are they motorized, or someone have?
They'll be up there.
You know, like tennis.
Yeah.
When they when the ball like hits the line and they let go. I think it's going to be technology like that, right?
Yeah.
So like even on the point of the ball.
Yeah.
Everything is all right. Perfect.
So they're taking the human. They're taking the human stretch. The human. I think this is a first down or it isn't, and they're going totally. Hey, the pictures don't lie.
Legit. I'll take it. I like it.
All right, that's a good one. Oh, by the way, Russ is checking in from the Navigator on the Seas. So the Wise Guys is on cruising with the Cougs here tonight.
Nice.
Hope you guys are having a good day. All right, below number 3.
All right, kickoffs. Touchbacks will come out to the 35 instead of the 30. This is to discourage kickers from booting the ball into the end zone. They want more kick returns.
I like it.
You like that?
Yeah, it was a wedge buster. So I think those guys need to get paid. So yes,
right, yeah.
It was interesting what they tried this year, and the kickers are like, "We're just kicking it out anyway. Yeah. We'll give it to you at the 25, but we don't want Taysom Hill with the football running full speed by the time he gets to the 30, and so there just weren't enough, and so now they've gone. I said, well, now we're going to penalize you. They can come out to the 35 if you kick into the end zone.
And we know, like, just with special teams, especially when it comes to punt returns, the stats, just like being able to get 10 more yards.
It's a big deal.
The percentage chances goes like skyrockets just from 10 yards when it comes to the chances of you scoring a touchdown.
It's an automatic first down.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. Number 4, would you prefer the NFL version of the kickoffs, or would you have the college kickoffs to stay the way they are? Do you want the NFL ones to come into college?
No, I like the college part. I like running and getting our head start, and I think it shows a little bit of violence, and that the tougher players will shine more in college than in the pros because it's already confined. Yeah. So you only got 10 yards to work. Yeah. I think it's great, and then it's good to see the speed, right?
Yeah.
Of players, they've worked their butts off during all of spring and summer to showcase their speed. Let them show their speed.
Well, I think too the opportunity for both sides, right, of the ball, like the less chances of you scoring a touchdown based off of how it currently is, and then for the defensive side on the cover. Because you're going full speed and you're 6'5", 250 pounds, opportunities to strip the ball, right, and get turnovers as well. So, and it's a gladiator sport. It's a gladiator.
Is there anything more exciting than a kickoff return for a touchdown?
No, it's pretty awesome. It is. That's what I love about the game. It's beautiful that way. They've already done enough on the return side to make sure that they limit the wedges, right, coming together, 2 players coming together to block one at the same time. So they've made it safe enough, I believe, for not only the return team but the kickoff team by limiting the double teams. And so let the speed work. It's fast break football.
How sweet was it when Marion broke that one against Utah? By the time he got to the 25, he was going the rest of the way. And you could just feel it. And he kicks in the afterburners, and all the Utah fans are just like, what? And you're going nuts in the booth?
Yeah, right after they had that momentum that they thought, we're going to roll. And then that was huge. Keelan's such a good returner and just a great human being. The kid's he's working his butt off. I just saw him in the locker room a couple hours ago.
Well, he's an All-American now, so he has to. That opening kickoff on August 31st is going to be like we're expecting him to take it to the house.
Yeah, expectations are high everywhere.
So these new rules will debut on July 31st in the NFL Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio, and then we'll see how they go for the rest of the season. All right, let's finish with number 5, Bilo.
The NFL schedule will be released next month. Who should be the opponent on opening night to face your championship Eagles?
Who do you want?
That'd be great to see Kansas City.
Do you think they'd put the two together? They always do the champion.
Yeah.
But it seems like then they throw someone else in there. But it'd be great to see them play the Chiefs.
Yeah. Usually, I think
that's what you're going for. Chiefs,
or Seattle. That's my team too. So
but America doesn't want to see the Seahawks on opening night.
I love seeing the Seahawks. That's the problem. Everybody's like, "Oh, you got a Seahawks fan?" Well, I was raised in Oregon and Washington.
They're going to be on the NFL Network after the Browns game. But that opening night, and it starts now. It's after our opening night, right? Once you get past Labor Day, but that Thursday night when it all begins, and you got your Eagles out there. How cool was watching them win that thing?
It was kind of heartbreaking too, because I'm an Andy Reid guy, right?
Yeah,
so Andy was my coach.
We were torn in the house
over there, and it's one of those things where. But I'm happy for the Eagles. I'm happy for the organization. Just Jeffrey Lurie and the ownership there's been awesome and consistent. But I was hoping Andy could get that three-peat, which would have been amazing.
I wanted them to lose. My sons, they live in Missouri, and they are huge, Chiefs fans. And I grew up in the Bay Area, so that rivalry with Super Bowl, I've been hearing it from little kids for the last couple of years. So I was like, what's to lose?
So you cheered against your own flesh and blood at the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Is that how that went down?
Absolutely did, yep.
Coach, we're so glad you came in.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming over here and hanging out with us. And the team is better across the board, but those linebackers, especially since you've been here, they've become the show on defense.
They're good kids, and we're running a really good scheme with Coach Hill. So all we got to do is make sure we get in the right spot, and make sure that they're really good athletes too, right? And so we're getting the right guys here, and they're making big plays. So I appreciate it, Dave. Thank you, B.
All right. Hey, one last thing. Could you believe how much they dominated in that Colorado game? I saw some video of the game again the other day, and I was just like, what the heck?
That was a fun game, and we didn't practice the Dion dance with Isaiah Glasker. that just came out of nowhere. I was like, man, that's a good dance. So good for you.
Even Dion couldn't be upset. He nailed that dance.
Right. I agree.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, have a great summer.
Thank you so
much. We'll see you at camp around the corner.
Thank you.
That's Justin Ena, one of our favorites here on the Wise Guys, linebacker coach for BYU. It'll be a long, hot summer, but it's going to go fast. Hey, you get your Stadium of Fire tickets? It's Rascal Flatts, so
yes, that would be awesome.
Make sure we'll see you there.
You got him tickets?
I didn't get him tickets. He's getting his own tickets.
Oh, I thought I was like,
right now he's shaking hands with the Landscape National Champions.
I was going to be really upset.
All right, Bilo, so come over here. This what we're about to do is we're about to switch gears and have our national champs come in. So as soon as DJ's getting more FaceTime again this week, so we're going to move those chairs out, and we're going to move the four of you in. So Jack's got the chairs, and as we do this, let me introduce our group here. The Landscaping National Champions, 4 key members of BYU's title program, having just won their second straight national championship and their 6th in the last 7 years. A pleasure to welcome Tyler Stewart from Tooele, Tahis Ibanez from Rexburg, Idaho, also captain of the swim and dive team there. Okay. And let's see, we've got Kinsey Flores of Tip City, Ohio, and Tucker Thompson from Kansas City at 6'6" and standing all of 6'6". First of all, congratulations. And welcome to the Wise Guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to do, since we've never had 4, and there's that big giant trophy, which is awesome.
That's nice.
What we're going to do is have you snuggle in a little bit, and then as we ask you questions, just kind of lean into the mic. You'll have to lean. Some of us will have to step up. But this is good. The athletic department gets so much attention for its successes, but winning is nothing new for the landscape department. How does it feel to be number 1?
Amazing.
Feels good.
Yeah, feels great.
What's so great about it? We'll just go right down the line. Tell me what's so great about being number 1?
Well, I think it's really exciting that even though there is always, the team always changes, there's always incoming freshmen or new to the major, and then there's always graduating seniors. I think it's just fun that the culture of working hard and being winners is just so deep that people just give their hearts, and it's just really exciting to be part of the process.
That's awesome.
I don't even know where to begin. I don't know. It's really awesome. I don't know. I never thought hey, landscaping, there's a national competition. Who thinks that?
I didn't know
Right?
there was.
Who does? So it's just cool. People are like, oh, I saw you won this cool competition. And I'm like, yeah. just landscaping. It's really awesome. So it's just weird. It's like cool to be different, I think.
You know what? My wife would say the same thing about football. Relay football. There's a football team over there. I guess that's cool that they're number one. So it's all perspective, right? How does it feel to be on top?
It feels great. It's awesome. It really helps show how many great resources we have and how much passion all of our advisors and our fellow students have to motivate each one of us every single day when we're learning in class and practicing in the various fields that we're choosing.
I think it's just cool that we spend a lot of time working towards this, and this is like an opportunity for us to show like what we've been learning in school and be part of that and like to compete. I miss competing a little bit. I played sports in high school, and this is like a fun way to get my major or be involved in competing with my major.
You guys get recruited? Like, get on scholarship?
Yeah, I'm actually on an NIL deal right now.
You're going to get them now. Right. You won the title. So how do you win a national championship? Is it like a track meet in this type of event and everyone contributes scores? How do you end up number one?
Yeah, I would say very much like a track meet. And I even relate it to swimming since I do swimming.
Right.
Everybody just does their own events. Some events are individual, some are in teams. And even though some events are so different, like Kinsey was in design where you are actually drawing out a design, and then I was in a business management, which was just taking a test. So it's very different events.
Wait. Taking a test was one event?
Yeah. It's crazy.
I couldn't be on the team.
That would be too much for you.
Couldn't be on the team.
So, even though it's the different events and everybody is just giving in different ways, it's all of the points combined together at the end. So. Okay.
All right. So now let's get specific here. So Tyler, you are the back-to-back title holder in the hardscape installation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us what that is. How do you win that?
So my event, you build a patio. You're given a plan for an 8 foot by 8 foot paver patio with a fire pit built into it. That's the plan for this year. Every year it changes a little bit. And you're given an hour and 50 minutes. To
build a patio?
Yeah,
with
to
a fireplace.
Build a patio.
The guys fixing my patio taking 6 months.
Gotta get Tyler in here.
You did it in an hour and a half?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little patio, but it's hard to finish. There's a lot of teams that don't finish their patios. Most teams don't finish. That's part of the challenge. I believe most teams there can finish and do a good job building it, but it's doing it fast and doing it good. And you build it, and then they judge who builds the patio.
Awesome.
And you went back-to-back champions.
Yeah, I won last year.
Yeah, we got to get like Home Depot or something.
Home Depot should be here. Okay, Kinsey, interior landscape design. By the way, you're 6 months pregnant.
I am 7 months.
7 months pregnant.
A little over.
A boy is on the way named Maverick. Is that from Top Gun?
No, it's not. Me and my husband actually have never seen Top Gun, which is so funny.
He just
love
came
the
up
name.
with Maverick.
Yeah.
When I saw the name Maverick, I go, they must have seen Top Gun.
No, it's funny.
Is that your favorite gas station? Maverick? You're the
We
Maverick?
do like Maverick, but that's not where it came from. My husband loves his Diet Coke, but that's not where it came from.
No names come from a gas station.
All the other Maverick I know.
Okay, so look, we're excited to see Maverick in a couple of months. So good luck finishing with that. But tell us how you won or how you competed enough to get enough points to help the team win in interior landscape design.
It's a lot of practicing, a lot of them, most of the events are timed, and so a lot of it is getting down, your time management. So I just had to practice, my graphic skills and getting in everything that the clients need. Like they'll give you the paper right then and there that you got to read through the client needs, and getting those in and down with good graphics is like the key to it. So it's tricky. There are a lot of schools that, didn't finish a design or things like that. There's even a guy that he came in like an hour late, but he finished.
Of course it was a guy.
Yeah.
An hour late.
Well, he was doing doing another competition. He was doing 2. So he was like coming from another one. It was crazy, but he did really well too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That is crazy. Yeah.
We're thrilled to have the members of the BYU Landscape National Championship team on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus and distributed by the Deseret News. Our live stream has people watching from all over the world tonight. So there's Idaho Falls in the house, even one up the street in Orem. But before you got here, we had Singapore, Tokyo, and Panama. So this is cool. You're talking to BYU fans
The world.
all over the place. So Tahis, business management.
Yes.
Tell us about that. And we also know that your swim and dive team had their best finish in 34 years. So congratulations with that as well.
you.
So
Thank
your
you.
event, how'd that go?
Okay, business management. So when you're given an event, usually the faculty member will assign that to you based on what they think you'll do best at. And the only business class I had ever taken was accounting. So I was like, well, we'll see how this goes. And it was actually a lot of fun. The studying, not so much, because you just get a book. And it's like 200 and so pages. And you just read the whole book and read so much vocab and so many definitions and so much math for accounting and how a business works. So you are, on the day of the event, you're just given the test and they say ready, set, go. And I can tell you, I've never felt so much adrenaline before taking a test.
No kidding.
So it was a lot of fun though. It was really a very unique type of competition. Especially when you relay it back to the competition that I'm used to.
Yeah.
But I mean, the energy and the adrenaline, I would say, is just the same.
So compare that to hearing the gun sound before you've got to jump in the pool and do your race. Is it about the same?
I didn't think it would be, but it definitely is. Because they have the timer ready and they say, okay, turn your test over, like time starts. And I turned it over and I was like, holy cow. Like, this is it. This is the moment we've been waiting for.
That is awesome. Good job. All right, Tucker, you're the club president for next year. So you got a lot going on. You won first place in the sales competition. What'd you do?
Well, it's a little different than the rest. I start my event a couple weeks before we get there. It's a role play event. And so I get a scenario for the clients and a property in Denver. And I have to come up with a design that meets their needs and do a Zoom interview with the 2 professionals role playing as the clients. And then I just practice. I have to practice learning how to address their needs, learning to figure out what it is that they want and what it is that they need and what we can provide. And then I have less than 10 minutes to help resolve any concerns they have in the role play. And I am judged by a panel of judges on how well I did in various categories.
Yeah, were you nervous?
I was so nervous. I was sweating through my shirt after I looked at the video afterwards. I was like, that's so embarrassing.
Well, David on the stream says, could you please ask any of them here, have they considered the transfer portal to leverage their potential NIL deals?
I'm staying at BYU.
That's hilarious.
What do the 10 overall national titles say about BYU's landscape department? And why should other students give them a look when thinking about how to get a job after college? What are all these national titles? What does it say about what you got going on over there?
I just think it's interesting. I don't think a lot of people think about the green industry and thinking like, I'm going to go into landscaping. They just kind of think like, oh, it's the person that comes and mows my lawn.
Yeah.
That's what they think of when the green industry, but it's so much more than that. Like business management, there's so much business that goes into it. I think things like that. There's design, like there's art that goes into it, and there's biology, like people can learn plants and learn about the health of them and how it affects your health, you know. And I think that is a really interesting aspect about it, and so I like that this competition shows how much like each individual thing is included in the green industry. And I feel like when you win and when you have things like that, you get to share, hey, this is so much more than just mowing a lawn.
Yeah.
And people want to be a part of that. And people love being outside. And so when they realize you can do that for a living and help other people enjoy outdoor spaces, it's really awesome.
So usually, like, when you are in a top tier program in almost any industry, you're gonna have recruiters, right? Not for sports, but in the corporate world, recruit you guys. How does that happen? Has it to start early, just because of all the accolades that you guys have? Like these corporate organizations are coming in. You guys are on the radar.
Something that I think it's really cool about that, and I honestly wasn't expecting so much of it, but it really is like network. We're there for a full week, and there is so many companies that are just so thrilled to have you on their team because they know that you're serious about this. They know that you are in the industry and you want to continue a career. And I feel like I'm a pretty social person, and I feel like my social battery was dying. I was like, this is a lot of talking, but it's really good. And I feel like they do a really good job at giving you all the opportunities you need and want so that you can be successful in the career.
We did a little homework. The BYU landscape program's ranked among the top 3 in the country, feeds an industry that generates $100 billion in annual revenue in this country. So how do you feel about opportunities to get a job once this experience is over?
I feel really confident about work opportunities. It is really cool to be part of BYU. It's kind of interesting. I remember as a freshman coming into the program, it's just like companies, if you at these career fairs and stuff like that, just being a BYU student was just such a, I just felt like I already had a leg up on everyone.
Really?
And we go to multiple career fairs and different activities with companies all over the country that are trying to hire us, and there are lots of job opportunities for all of us upon graduation.
We should clip this for recruits. That clip
we're sending it to them. I think we both went to BYU a few years ago. Everyone comes to school so they can get a job when they're done. For athletes, they want to go to the show, and for accountants, they want to go to work for the firm, and the same thing for you guys. Are no different. We just happen to be in one of the best programs in the country.
Right.
So you got that going for you. And you're number 1. That helps too, right? Okay, are you ready to take this up a notch? Because all this was fine and good, but now we're going to find out some stuff about you. Does that sound okay? All right. 5 questions here is presented by Strategy Square. Give your online business a boost with Chantal at strategysquare.co. Now, Brian's going to ask each of you a question. Now, the show is pretty open-ended, but we don't want to be here all night. So this is more rapid fire, what's on your mind, to answer these questions. And there'll be 5 of them. We're going to give you each one a chance to answer. And we'll start this way, but then we'll mix it up so that you don't have to just get it cold turkey.
Perfect.
So that we'll be fair. This is not a contest, but this is going to be a lot of fun. And when we're done, our audience is going to know a lot more about the 4 of you. Sound good?
Okay.
Dilo, you ready?
This is going to be just like how you guys get timed in your events. It's like that. Yes. Yep. Exactly. Okay. Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite what is
movie?
Oh man, I'm gonna say Back to the Future.
Back to the
Ooh, that's a
Future,
good one.
Classic.
I'm gonna go Interstellar.
Interstellar.
You have my heart. That's my favorite movie. Interstellar.
I haven't even seen Interstellar. Isn't it like 4 or 5 hours long?
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Is it
It's
pretty
pushing
long?
3.
Pushing 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
All
good
right.
3 though. It's a good.
Yeah.
I'd say Mission Impossible. I'm excited for May.
For
the
part
new
2?
one, yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
It's been a long wait from part 1.
It has.
That's because
I'll
didn't he
have to
break?
rewatch all of them.
Didn't he break his leg like 5 times? That's why. Is that the delay?
I don't know.
Oh.
Tom Cruise?
Yeah. I thought.
He does whatever he wants. He does whatever he wants. Favorite movie?
For me, it's Cars. It's the first movie I remember watching in the movie theater, and it still just has a special place in my heart.
That's a good one.
You're so much younger than us. All
All
right.
right. Now we're gonna go this way.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite singer or band?
Oh, lately I've been loving George Strait.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I love country, and George Strait is just what I've been listening to a lot lately.
He's an icon, George Strait.
Yeah.
All right.
I like Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wall, another country.
Yep.
Okay. You don't have to love country to be a landscape national champion. Right?
That's true.
Correct.
All right, Kinsey.
Coldplay, probably.
Oh, Coldplay. Good.
Mine's gotta be Demi Lovato.
Okay. Demi Lovato.
Okay.
Good.
Not country
Awesome.
over here.
All right. Going back this way now. Favorite ice cream?
Oh, pistachio. Yeah.
Pistachio.
Pistachio.
Some kind of black raspberry chocolate. I don't know. I like fruit in my ice cream. Yeah.
What do you mean with some kind of black cherry?
I don't know,
If you walked into Baskin Robbins and said, "I'd like some kind of black cherry,"
give me
know what it
something like
is?
that.
I was going to ask you, was that answer predicated on the baby, the pregnancy?
She got a lot of flavors in there.
Exactly.
That's probably where it's coming from.
Anything with graham crackers in it. Any ice cream shop that has graham crackers.
So are you over there at the creamery with that Graham Canyon stuff? You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Ben & Jerry's s'more one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That's the one I go to just down the street in the store when I need
That's
a
the
little
go-to?
late night pick me up.
Okay.
Cookies and cream.
Cookies and cream. Okay. Those are all great.
Now we're going back this way. Favorite BYU moment?
Favorite BYU moment?
Could be anything.
Oh, well, I have a lot, and so it's really hard to say, but the one that came to my mind first is I was watching, I can't remember what BYU football game it was. No, this is bad.
Give us a hint. Give us a hint. We'll help you out.
Well, I just remember, so I was coming back from, I competed in a different landscaping competition, and we were flying back, and me and my two partners, my two teammates, it was in October, and it was this last year, and we're flying back, and we all watched the game in the airport. We were sitting next to each other, and we were all watching it on our like little TV screen, and then when the game wasn't over because it went into overtime. And so we were like hurried and ran to the car, and we're listening to the game on the radio, and we were driving down I-15, and I just remember we like made a touchdown with hardly any time to go.
Oh, is that Oklahoma State maybe?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's the Oklahoma State game.
Yeah.
And we were just so excited in the middle of I-15. We like almost pulled over the car and just cheered.
That's awesome. The stadium was nuts.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought that was going to happen?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, that's a great moment. By the way, David from New Brunswick, Canada, is on the stream tonight, so that brings in another country.
Yeah.
All waiting for your answer.
I would probably say when we beat Utah.
Nice.
I was actually just lying in bed because I had been wiped all day.
Yeah.
But the party did not stop outside. I just sat there and listened to the whole thing, and that you could feel the energy just lying in bed, just waiting.
Amazing,
anticipation.
because that was as improbable as the one you were talking about.
That's true.
I do remember the Utah game too.
I actually, after we did the post-game show, I actually went, me and Uncle B went and celebrated.
Is that right?
We were outside. Yeah, I had my car parked in the middle of the street. Everybody was,
People were cheering all over campus. It was nuts.
I apologize.
Okay.
Maybe I'm going a different direction.
It doesn't have to be football.
When I got into BYU, I would say that's the best moment.
How'd you find out?
It was like early in the morning, and my mom was asleep on the couch, and I was pouring myself some cereal, and I was like, oh, I got an email. Then I read it, and I got in, and I was like, Mom, I got into BYU. She's like, what? And it was great.
Is that like, for my mission call, it came in the mail and I had to open it up, and now you just get emails? Is it still just as exciting? Just like click, well, there it is.
It's the click. Like with you in the tears, it's the clicks that's the anticipation.
It's the anticipation
I
of
did
that.
get a letter eventually, though.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it came with some socks. That was pretty awesome, too.
With some socks. Awesome. All right, your BYU moment.
Yes. It is hard to pick. I am going to have to go with one from swim.
Okay.
I really enjoyed our senior swim meet this year just because, as a senior, it is just a lot more emotional and full of so much excitement, and it's such a bittersweet moment, but just being there with my team and the coaches and my loved ones up in the stands and just feeling the pride of being a BYU Cougar was such an incredible moment.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So who's all going to be back next year? Is everyone back?
The three of us will.
Three?
Thais, you're graduating though.
You're out?
I'll be graduating in December.
So after you win again next year, will you come back?
Of course.
Sure.
And you can bring that trophy and this one just to, just back to backs. And you're done with, are you walking next month?
I'll be walking, technically next April, because I am finishing in December.
Good.
But I'm hoping to actually do grad school at BYU. Just BYU can't get rid of me.
BYU's happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Hey, congratulations. And thank you for coming in here and and giving us a chance to talk about your department, which is elite around the country, and the fact that you are a #1 national champions. And there are not a lot of them on campus. If you run into some of the cheer squad, they're going to say they're #1 because they won something over the weekend. It seemed like the Cougarettes always win. But for everyone else, they're chasing it, except for cross country, because they chased it and got it. So you're right up there with them. So I hope you feel good about that. And we wish you the best. We'll see you guys next year, and we wish you the best. We'll see you next year, too. In fact, you can come back with them as an emeritus to celebrate that. Does that sound good?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
That's awesome. And congratulations. From alums here on the stream, we're proud of you, and good job. Yeah. Good job. And by the way, you are the tallest landscape national champion we've ever seen.
Thank you. I get that a lot.
And we know you love the Chiefs. So Andy Reid was on our show not long ago, and we love him, and you're a Kansas City guy. So hope you can get back to another Super Bowl and win one.
I hope not.
That's the hope. Well,
I hope not.
Sorry.
I'm a
Gotta go
Bengals,
against
so-
you.
You heard this story.
Yeah.
You what?
I'm a Bengals, so I hope not.
Whoa.
The Bengals. That's a whole nother story.
That is.
Yes,
Yeah.
really, truly.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
So there they are, 4 members of the national champion landscape team at BYU. And here on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, we're live on Facebook, live on Twitch, and at wiseguys.com. The podcast will be out tomorrow. You'll be able to hear all their stories all over again. And the studio just got less bright because they took the championship trophy with them. And that's cool. Look at the size of that trophy, Velo. You might as well have won the Alamo Bowl with the size of that thing. Nice job. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right.
It's probably like half my size. You know, I'm only 5'6". So
Thanks, DJ. Hey, that was a record for us. We've never had 4 guests at one time on our show, and that means we can do it more often. How much fun was it to have those students here with us?
It was very fun, very educational.
Tyler, Tahis, Kinsey, and Tucker, fresh off winning the 10th national championship for the BYU landscape program. On the Wise Guys.
Am I good?
Are we going to need a booster seat? Or
Well, I mean,
he's bringing it. He's bringing it back in
I
here.
probably look like I can get away with this because that's how short I am.
Let's do our Cougar Board question of the week, and then we'll get into what's new on campus. And the stream has been awesome tonight from all over the world, so keep it coming. We'll try to give you as many shout-outs as we can. The Cougar Board question of the week, if you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans with thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Billy Jack Blue, which seems like a cool name to have, Billy Jack Blue.
I thought you were about to say Billie Jean.
One of their insider subscribers. His question, or her question, are there any members of KY, Kevin Young's staff, who've been targeted for other jobs this off-season? Is your overall sense that the entire staff is happy with their move to college? Can you report any interesting information about how members of the staff are liking their time in Provo so far, and if you expect the staff to stay intact? There was a lot of questions involved in that.
Yeah.
I can tell you this. They love being here. And I don't know of any that were entertaining offers, certainly none publicly, of going to another staff. This was just their first year together, but they were fantastic, won 26 games and went to the Sweet 16. I can tell you Tim Fanning is going to be the head coach of the Netherlands. We talked about that earlier. The under-18 FIBA Euro Basketball Championship in Romania at the end of July. So he's going to coach the Netherlands there. And so that'll keep him in the mix with all the Euros.
Yeah, for sure.
And BYU is creating now this pathway of players coming here from all over the place. But
well, players and coaches, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the ultimate goal for any head coach or any program is to not, to not have their organization be the end all, right? The last stop, unless they want to, which I think we would love. But something that I hear a lot from Coach Young is like the stability that he feels from being here, and not having that stress and that added pressure.
And let's be honest, the staff is the biggest basketball staff we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the players, and then there's a timeout, and then here comes this army of staff. And everyone's got something to do, and that's a lot to coordinate. But one thing that we've noticed with Kevin Young is he listens, and allows his coaches to coach, which is a great sign of a leader. And then the buck always stops with him because that's how it is. But I think this next year, as BYU has continued success and they're going to be under a spotlight that's so much brighter this time around, that there will be opportunities for assistants to become head coaches for sure. But after year one, I think everyone's just excited to have AJ Dybantsa and some of these kids coming in and make a run at a national championship.
Yeah. I mean, winning is, we say this all the time, winning is fun. I think I would rather be at a lower level coaching and win than being at the highest level and losing, because winning is fun. And then also when you win, you get this is where you get your opportunities, right? Coaches start getting recruited because other coaches either when they play against a school, they go, oh, I really like this scheme, or I really like what this coach did defensively against this. Like, I've never, had to play against something like that. And so winning puts you on the radar. So I don't see them, having any opportunities maybe this early, especially just because everything is so new.
Well, even Kalani kept his staff together after an 11-2 season, but you do another 11-2 season, and then things are going to change because people want you to coach them.
That's when the real financial decisions start, because now you got to pay the players and the coaches.
That's the price of winning.
Yep.
Losing, they don't have to do any of that.
Nope.
Right? All right, let's get to some campus notes here on this Monday on Wise Guys. By the way, next week, Brock Harris and McKay Madsen will be live on our show. They are 2 4-star recruits, one running back, one tight end. One's a year older than the other, ready to go out on his church mission as soon as the school year comes to an end. The other has another year left, but one of the highest rated players, certainly at tight end, that BYU has ever had. So they'll be with us next week, and they'll take your questions. So something to think about as we roll into Wise Guys deeper into the spring. Let's start with campus notes and begin with men's volleyball, Bilo.
Yeah, men's volleyball 17-9, 5-5 in conference. Ranking is number 8. They got swept at number 2 UCLA 3-2 and then 3-1.
So I watched the one on Friday night.
Yeah,
that was back and forth. And that 5th set, you go to 15. I think it ended up 20-something to 20-something. UCLA's number 2. They're legit.
I was going to say they're ranked, right?
Yeah, and then the next night they got us 3-1. But that was a classic battle. When you're going up against really good teams, that home court, that means something. And the field house is certainly, as Sean Olmstead and even Keone Thim talked about on the show a couple weeks ago, that's real. That helps you win games.
Yeah, absolutely. That energy, especially with volleyball, right? With so much back and forth, being able to ride that momentum to get that energy. This week, Pepperdine at BYU. That's Friday and Saturday, 7 p.m. Mountain on BYU TV. And then the MPSF tournament is April 22nd to the 26th, and that'll be in Malibu, California.
So this is your last chance. If you're around here, your last chance to see men's volleyball until next season, this weekend, in a 7-8 matchup of the Waves and the Cougars at the Smith Fieldhouse.
You know what would be cool? What if we had volleyball, the court set up like in the stadium or something, or basketball stadium?
Maybe for an exhibition.
That'd be cool.
Because they don't like leaving that field house.
Oh, because it's all.
Because it helps them win games.
Yeah, you're on top of the players. Yeah, that
you kind of give your advantage away. Even
sense.
Though I think in some matches they could pack.
Yeah.
The Marriott Center. That would be something else.
Maybe like the scrimmage, like the blue white.
Or if they're going up against the Soviets or something. Create an exhibition. There's something there. Baseball is 17-16 now, 5-10 in the Big 12. Dropped 2 of 3 games to last place Utah. That was a punch to the gut, the way those games played out, and that puts them in a spot. It's a gut check time now because of what they've got coming up. Prior to the Utah game, they went down to St. George and beat Utah Tech 19-1. Utah Tech was up here and beat BYU a few weeks ago, and the payback was painful, 19-1 down there. So here's the story this week. Tomorrow night, at Miller Park. Utah Valley comes down the road and will play BYU. That's at 6 Mountain Time. And then Arizona, they're ranked 22nd in the country. They come to Provo Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to take on BYU. All those games on ESPN+. Gary Sheri and myself will be on the call there. This is a tough stretch. They're playing some really good teams now, and they've lost their mojo. And so a big game tomorrow night to get some mojo, and then you've got to fight like crazy against Arizona this weekend. Yeah. There's 14 teams that play baseball in the Big 12. 12 advance to the conference tournament. Right now, BYU sitting at 11.
Ooh.
A game ahead of the other two. Maybe they're right at 12. Anyway, they're right there on the fence, and it could go either way. So we'll hope for a bounce back week.
It's one of those times as an athlete where you have a real long, hard stare at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, this is one of those times.
This is one of those for sure. We'll hope for the best for them. Softball, 26-12, 8-7 in conference. Defeated Fresno State 7-4 this afternoon. Defeated UCF 9-1 on Saturday to avoid a 3-game sweep. And then BYU beat Utah Tech 12-7. Kayla, how do I say that?
Kayla Kamoku. She had a game earlier in the week.
Kayla Kamoku. That's a very unique way to spell Kayla. Kayla Kamoku ties school single game record with 8 runs batted in.
Yeah, that's tough to do. 8 of them. One was a grand slam.
I was going to say, did she hit 2 grand slams?
No, she didn't hit 2, but she hit the ball all over the park.
What's the? Well, I want to know because it's tied, right? It's tied. Okay.
So no one had 9.
Yeah.
This week,
Utah BYU Thursday, Saturday on ESPN+.
Yeah, there's no time to mess around. Right. The Cougars and Utes now. Women's tennis 16-9. They're 6-6 in the Big 12. Ranked around 67th in the country. UCF beat BYU this week 4-3, and then the Cougars on Saturday beat Houston 4-2. The Big 12 championships are next. They start Wednesday in Waco, Texas.
Then men's tennis, 12-9, 1-7 in conference play.
Yeah, didn't go so good.
Man,
Big 12, tough.
Yeah, that's a tough season. They're currently ranked number 64, and Utah defeated BYU 4-2.
Men's golf, the Cougars are ranked 29th. Right now, they're competing in the Western Intercollegiate in Santa Cruz, California. Kind of a late day start tournament. They're playing today through Wednesday. It's on the Golf Channel. I was watching it earlier today. BYU is tied for 5th at the time, and with plenty of chances to move up. They've got a really good golf team. The Big 12 championships, by the way, are coming up April 22nd through the 24th in Tulsa. So this is the last tune-up before they go play for all the marbles in the Big 12.
And women's golf currently is sitting at number 54. This week, Big 12 championships, Tuesday through Thursday in Hockley, Texas.
So they got it going this week. They just won their last tournament, so they're feeling pretty good heading in. Yep. So we wish them the best of luck starting tomorrow. Track and field, the men are ranked number 8. The women are number 31. New rankings come out tomorrow. This week, they're all over the place. Brian Clay Invitational, Tuesday through Thursday in Azusa, California. The Pacific Coast Invitational, Thursday in Long Beach. The Mount Sacramento Relays, Thursday through Saturday in Walnut, California. And the Beach Invitational, Friday and Saturday in Long Beach. And this question came up earlier today. BYU signed Thomas Boyden to the roster. He was all ACC and all Pac-12 before graduating from Stanford. He's got a couple of degrees.
Smart kid.
He was on Sports Nation the other day, and we interviewed him. Now he's coming to BYU and the Big 12 with 1 year of eligibility. His post-play running plans involve going to law school at UCLA. So we were sitting there on the show, and I was like, wait a second, let's see, you're in the Pac-12, and then you're coming to the Big 12. You're currently in the ACC, and then you're going to the Big 10. That's how he's doing it.
He could brag and say he went to all power.
Yeah, I don't know where the SEC fits in that, but his mom ran here, and now he's going to run here, and
nice.
Ed Eyestone's thrilled to get him.
Yeah, so we swim and dive. Mackenzie Miller-Lung was named the Big 12 Women's Swimmer of the Year. Of course, that's really no surprise when you look at all of her accolades. She was a first-team All-American in the 100 and 200 breaststroke, including a national runner-up in the 200 breaststroke. She was also the Big 12 champion in the 200 breaststroke. So, we've been hearing all different types of almost like every week it was hearing some type of record that she breaking her own record. So this doesn't surprise me at all. And then Timber McAllister was named the Big 12 Women's Swimming Co-Coach of the Year in her first season as BYU Swim and Dive head coach. So congrats to Coach Tamber.
And we just had Tahis in here, who was on the swim and dive team as a captain. So great to see them have such a successful year. By the way, BYU cheer and stunt, we congratulate them. They won the 2025 national title at the Collegiate Cheer and Dance Championships over the weekend. You know what? They just all win. Everybody wins.
You know what? I'm really starting to believe that the church is true. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
You
smiled though.
You've been learning that a long time ago. It had nothing to do with any of this.
You smiled. I got you.
Let's do.
That was a good one. You got to admit that was a good one. That was good.
That was good. Let's do On This Day, April 14th, as we wrap up the show tonight. And but it's been a fun one. Yeah. There was an energy in here with those four student athletes. Yeah. We call them student athletes or student champions. Maybe we should call them student champions.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's good. Yeah, student champions.
When you're number one, you feel like it's sports, but it's actually all kinds of things.
Well, I mean, I think competition is, just got to be a champion in competition, right? Because you have a winner and a loser. Right. And, I mean, I don't know. Some of the stuff that they were talking about, like other than the test part, seemed like it's a sport to me.
You know what? When Tahis was saying that she was going through so much adrenaline to take that test, I've never had any of that. I've had so much fear taking a test, but for her it was adrenaline. And it's like, let's go. I'm trying to win this.
And for her to say that, knowing that she's on the swim team, that says a lot.
That was something. On this day, on April 14th, a lot of things happened. On this day, in 1828,
Noah Webster registers his copyright for the first American dictionary.
How about that? Been using it ever since. On this day in 1860, the first Pony Express rider arrives in San Francisco from St. Joseph, Missouri. And then it was on.
On this day, 1965.
1865. Sorry, my bad.
1865. I was gonna say I don't think that was. Yeah. In 1865, President Lincoln is shot by John Wilkes Booth while attending a play at the Ford Theater in Washington D.C. The president was pronounced dead the next morning.
Yeah, that happened on this day. Yeah. On this day in 1912, the Titanic hit an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. off Newfoundland and started to sink.
You know the conspiracy.
There's a lot going on this day.
You know the conspiracy with that, right?
What, does that have something to do with the movie?
Nah. The movie was a cover-up. See, there was all these, like the owners of the big bankers, like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and they were trying to buy one of the owners out. And he said no. So originally the plan was for all of the big bankers to go on the Titanic. And they said, well, we want his share. He won't sell it to us. So a few of those gentlemen stepped off last minute. And then
I don't know about that.
It's a conspiracy.
They went and planted an iceberg from below the ocean surface.
Iceberg was a cover up. That's why they made the movie to brainwash our minds.
Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, I thought it was just so that we could hear Celine Dion sing.
That was a benefit. That was a blessing that we got from that movie.
Our next show will be Unsolved Mysteries with Brian Logan. Look for that on YouTube.
On this date, 1925, the first regular season broadcast of Cubs baseball on WGN.
And America's been better for it.
Yes, absolutely.
On this day in 1939, John Steinbeck published his new book, The Grapes of Wrath.
On this day, 1968, the first NBA game is played at Madison Square Garden. In New York, Knicks beat the San Diego Rockets 114-102.
I didn't know there were San Diego Rockets.
Yeah.
But that they're. And by the way, in December, BYU's playing in that very same Madison Square Garden. Opponent yet to be announced. 1981 on this day, the first space shuttle, Columbia 1, returned to Earth after 2 days and 6 hours up in space.
Yeah. You want to hear another conspiracy?
No. Don't even bring up the moon landing.
Oh, man.
That's it. No more late night TV for you.
I know.
On this day in 2002, way back,
Tiger Woods wins his second straight Masters championship.
Went back to back.
Yeah.
And I miss Tiger at the Masters. It's not the same without him. It was still great over the weekend, but when he was at his peak, he was must-see TV at the Masters. Yep. April 14th birthdays, 1941, Pete Rose was born. Did I tell you my Pete Rose story? Mm-mm. So I'm eating at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse off Flamingo in Vegas in this little strip mall type thing. And the Ruth's Chris isn't there now. It's down on the strip. But so we're there having dinner late one night, and then in comes two people come walking by, and they sit down right next to us, and not at our table, but right next to our table. And I look over and I go, "Hey, there's Pete Rose." And my wife said, "What? Who?" And I go, "Never mind. Never mind. Can I get some more ketchup?" But there was Pete Rose sitting right there. Born on this day in 1941.
Born on this day, 1945, Richie Blackmore, guitars for Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water.
All right, I'm going to humor you a little. Everyone who learns how to play the guitar just plays "Smoke on the Water" over and over and over. This is the guy responsible.
I don't know.
Richie Blackmore.
I don't know what it is.
We'll YouTube it when we're done. All right. By the way, Michael said on the stream, one of my mission companions' grandfather was the captain on the Titanic. He said it was a great embarrassment to the family. That's it. That's all we're doing on the Titanic.
Look at you started.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Look at you started, Dave.
On this day in 1966, Greg Maddux was born. 18-time Gold Glove pitcher for the Cubs and the Braves, and one of the most low-key, down-to-earth athletic superstars you'd ever meet. Greg Maddux, the pride of Las Vegas.
Okay, so born on this day, I do know this guy. 1995, Baker Mayfield, quarterback for the Bucks. Also won a Heisman, right?
He won one? Did he win one with Oklahoma?
I think he did.
All right. On this day, on April 14th, deaths, 1759, George Friedrich Handel, composer of Handel's Messiah. He died on this day in 1759.
And in 1995.
Don't mess this one up.
I don't know who this is.
Burl Ives? Mm-mm. Okay. Burl Ives is one of the greatest singers ever to live. He sang Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on little cartoons that come on at Christmas time. That's Burl Ives singing that.
Rudolph's nose wasn't really red, right? Okay, I'm dead. That's my last one. That's my last one.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from Abraham Lincoln, who, as Bilo mentioned earlier, was shot on this day by John Wilkes Booth at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Here's one of his great quotes.
"Sir, my concern is not whether God is on our side. My greatest concern is to be on God's side, for God is always right."
Amen. That's the great Abraham Lincoln. It's been a great show tonight. I want to thank Justin Ena, linebacker coach for BYU. Played here, coaching here. He's so fun to hang around.
Yeah. Good guy.
And it was great insight from Justin Ena as the Cougars get ready to defend their 11-2 season. And some of the players are on the cruise. Some went on that. Some are scattered about. They're getting April kind of to get some time off. But as you heard him in May, it's back on. And then May, and then June, and then Stadium of Fire in July, on July 4th. And then a couple weeks later, they're back into camp, and it's on.
Yeah.
And what a year it's going to be.
When the first episode of AFR is on, like when we start doing the promo,
July,
that's when like the feelings start getting there for me. Like the reality starts setting in. Like we're about to play football again.
Yeah,
that's the moment.
I love it. Landscape National Champions from BYU, Tyler Stewart, Kinsey Flores, Tahis Ibanez, and Tucker Thompson. They were here with their trophy. I thought that was awesome. If you missed that interview, you'll want to watch it again on YouTube or wiseguys.com. And next week, BYU's 4-star recruits, McKay Madsen and Brock Harris, are going to be here. Madsen's getting ready to go on his mission. Harris is going to get ready for his senior year, but both will be playing together. I think it'll be in 28, maybe 28. And they both say that there's going to be a really good 5-star quarterback playing with them who hasn't announced anything yet. But we'll talk to him about that next week on the show. As for where you can find us, Blaine's on a boat on the high seas. So if you see him, tell him hello and tell him to use his sunscreen. And then I'm on Sports Nation every morning this week because the guys are gone. Deseret News, we've got an article in the paper today on which BYU coach should get the blue jacket. I know we watched Rory McIlroy get the green jacket. BYU has some fantastic, successful coaches on campus. The field, as we call it in that story, that's at Deseret.com. I'll have a few more later in the week. And then baseball Tuesday night at 6 Mountain Time. Thursday at 4:30 Mountain Time, Friday at 4:30, and Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time. So there's a lot of stuff going on. That's Blaine's on a boat, eating ice cream, and this is what I got going on back here.
I'm not doing nothing with my life. Oh, actually, no. We started spring ball for Mountain View. Yeah,
and you're an assistant coach this year.
Yeah. And we stayed up with the defensive coordinators and Wani Unga, he's the head coach, and stayed up for a while last night and coming up with just certain schemes. And
when you say a while, you're deep into the night, early into the morning.
I think I left at 12:30.
Okay.
I think they probably stayed a couple more hours, but I had to leave.
As an Orem Tiger, I feel about Mountain View.
Yeah, that's the rival.
But
right?
I want you to be successful.
Well, what's funny is that I woke up this morning and I looked at my calendar, like what I have to do for the day, and I was like, oh man, I spent all that time last night, and I'm not even going to practice today.
Hey, I hope the coach doesn't make you run laps because you were on the show. We needed you here.
I had to do up downs, yeah.
Do up downs?
I got to do 20 up downs, yeah.
Hey, Wise Guys, shout out to Matt and Paige Holland, honored last week with the annual Pillar of the Valley Award, acknowledging their efforts in making Utah Valley a better place to live. Matt's a BYU alum, the son of President Holland, president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, a former president of Utah Valley University, and current General Authority 70 for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They're a spectacular tag team, and they were honored. We had a great event earlier this week. President Holland was there and gave the opening prayer, and you can hear a pin drop by the time he finished. And anyway, Pillar of the Valley is outstanding. There are amazing people around us in every valley, all over the place. But nothing gets great unless there are really good people working hard.
It's true. Doing
things. And Matt and Paige Holland certainly fit that bill. So we want to give them a Wise Guys shout out. And we remind you that Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus and distributed by the Deseret News. We have some really big things coming. So we're happy to have you on the live stream, happy to have you listening on the podcast and following us on YouTube and watching our shorts and clips and all that stuff. The story of BYU sports just keeps getting better and better, Bilo.
Yeah.
Every day there's something.
Yes, this is a good time to be. This is a great time to be a Cougar fan and making any type of impact, like this show, and whether if it's through media, if it's through helping out with donations for the collective, or just showing up and just being fans. Like this is take advantage because we've been down for a while, and it's our time.
The Mackeys hopping on the stream late, better late than never, and you're right. So Scott and Eileen from Drummond, Montana, great to have you with us. Westlake Village, a late ad. It's Clint is with us. Very grateful for KY and Kalani and their vision and leadership. Go Cougs. So we'll finish with those two on the stream, and we'll see you guys next time. Bilo, thank you as always. Yep. And we'll see you soon. Yep. And Blaine, we'll see him next week if he survives the high seas. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching the Wise Guys.